All right, welcome to the August 12th meeting of the Planning Commission. We will do a roll call and then hop into, we have minutes from the July 8th meeting to approve. All right, we'll get going with a roll call. Start down there, Todd.
Queen, District 1.
David Park, District 3.
Russ Coover, District 2.
Lane Rose, District 2.
Kate Darlington, District 3.
Cindy Watson, District 1.
Warren Stanbrook, Planning Director.
Brittany Hayden, Planner 1.
Everett Neal, Code Compliant.
All right, anyone have any agenda additions, deletions, or corrections? Meeting minutes from July 8th. Anyone wanna move to approve those?
I move to approve those meeting minutes from the July 8th meeting.
One second.
All right, all in favor?
I
Opposed? All right, minutes from the July 8th meeting are approved. Our main agenda item this week is a continuation of the public hearing for PLN 26-022 for the Clearwater rezone. We'll have staff brief us on where we're at today. Is there anyone here that's not kind of a part of the applicant group?
Chuck is
Well, Chuck, are you gonna have any comments today?
Yeah, but not regarding the Clearwater.
Okay. And I see TK there. Do you want to sign in for public comment later? Okay. And all right, so we'll go through our staff report. We'll open it up for the applicants to weigh in. It looks like you brought some expert witnesses to add to the story. So we'll give them a chance to weigh in when it's applicable. And with that, I guess Oren will take it away.
Sorry, someone was waiting. It's my turn to move it to. It's in hand. Yeah.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight we are reopening the public hearing for application PLN 26-022, a request by Peter Edwards of Clearwater Enterprises to rezone approximately 378 acres in the Austin area from agriculture 35 acre to residential 1 acre. To recap our timeline, this hearing originally opened on June 24th. At that time, the commission granted a continuance to allow the applicant to address 4 core technical and legal areas: water court decrees and priority dates, the water augmentation plan and senior call strategy, a statutory water summary report, and a geotechnical and OWTS feasibility report. As a procedural note, addendum number 1, which was sent to the commissioners along with tonight's agenda packet, supplements and does not replace our original June 24th staff report. All original referral comments and baseline exhibits remain part of the permanent record. Between July 29th and August 6th, the applicant submitted 4 detailed technical and legal evaluations prepared by licensed Colorado professional engineers and water law counsel. These include a water rights legal opinion, a water treatment plant assessment, and geotechnical and wastewater discharge studies. Looking at the findings, first, regarding water court decrees and senior call strategy, staff finds these requirements satisfied. The applicant possesses a decreed conditional water right for 1.66 cubic feet per second under the Shea Pump and Pipeline, with active water court diligence maintained through November 2030 under case number 24CW9. Furthermore, Decree 02CW39 establishes an approved augmentation plan backed by an active 40-year Bureau of Reclamation contract for 8 acre-feet per year of storage in Blue Mesa Reservoir. This legally protects diversions if a senior call is placed downstream on the Gunnison River. Second, regarding water treatment infrastructure, staff finds this partially addressed. Cooper Engineering verified that the treatment plant has a rated capacity of 100 gallons per minute or 144,000 gallons per day, which can support up to 360 single-family homes under conservative state standards. The raw water storage tank holds 750,000 gallons, providing a 23.8 day supply reserve for phase one. However, under CDPHE 3-day storage rules, the existing 80,000 gallon finished water tank legally limits service to a maximum of 71 residential taps. Because phase one targets 105 lots, the developer will be required to construct additional finished storage tanks and complete state community water system authorization before expanding past 71 lots. Third, on soils and septic feasibility, staff finds this addressed with technical challenges understood. Goodrich Engineering excavated test pits and confirmed weathered Manco shale on the central slopes exhibits 1% to 2% swell potential, which can be mitigated through standard civil engineering, specifically 3 to 4 feet of over excavation and structural fill cushions. While the engineer evaluated a worst case scenario proposal for a 3-acre surface detention pond, Delta County OWTS rules and CDPHE regulation 43 mandate full subsurface treatment within each individual 1-acre lot. We will strictly enforce individual lot by lot engineered septic designs during subsequent subdivision reviews. When we evaluate these technical findings against the legal criteria for a rezone under Chapter 8, Section 4B of our Land Use Code, staff finds that the requirements are met. Comes to resource protection, geotechnical constraints are manageable using standard engineering enforced at the platting phase. The master plan supports developing non-agricultural parcels adjacent to utility corridors, accommodating residential inventory demands along Highway 92 while protecting prime irrigated farmland elsewhere in the county. And for reasonable assurances, main treatment capacity and water decrees exist, while state authorizations and storage expansions will be legally required prior to platting. Based on this technical record, staff has updated its recommendation to approval with conditions. Our land use code explicitly sets the standard at the rezone stage as providing reasonable assurances that adequate public facilities will serve development by the time demand occurs. It does not require final construction level blueprints up front. Approving this rezone allows the developer to perfect valuable Upper Gunnison water rights before their November 2030 water court deadline, keeping that water dedicated to Delta County's growth. At the same time, our recommended conditions contractually shift the engineering, state CDPHE approvals, and road improvement costs on the developer as mandatory prerequisites before any final subdivision plat can be recorded. To ensure full risk control, we recommend 5 conditions. 1, subdivision phasing and development agreement. The applicant must execute a binding development agreement limiting initial density to a phase 1 tract off Highway 92 before map reporting. 2, CDPHE water system authorization. Formal CDPHE community water system engineering design approval, certified operator retention, and finished water storage expansion must be completed before recording any plat exceeding 14 taps. The statutory water report, submission of a formal statutory water engineering report and a favorable determination from the state engineer prior to phase 1 preliminary plat submittal. 4, lot specific engineering, a professional engineer stamped geotechnical study and engineered OWTS design demonstrating full subsurface absorption for every individual lot prior to permit issuance. And 5, the CDOT access and traffic study, completion of a level 1 traffic impact study and an approved CDOT access permit for the Shea Road Highway 92 intersection prior to phase 1 preliminary plat approval. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation of approval with conditions to the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Orr before we open it up to the applicants? All right.
So
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So
the condition for the BTS design. The engineer stated that they pose in a worst case condition that there would need to be a 3-acre retention pond because the soils could potentially not handle all the effluent from these lots. So that's something that won't be realized until this subdivision starts to line. Like phase one, probably not gonna happen. As this starts to phase out, we're gonna be at the end of this thing when we realize like, oh, these soils can't handle all this effluent. So how does the planning department view this condition as mitigating that risk? As I understand it, and maybe somebody here can speak to this more knowledgeably, but it sounds like this was a calculation based off the maximum possible density of a minimum 1-acre lot size. So it sounds to me like this is something that would be worked out in the subdivision platting phase where they're gonna determine the actual size of the lots, and then one by one, as they get developed, they'll have to do their own lot specific study to determine what kind of a septic system is gonna work for that lot. That's how I understood it.
So I can, I'd like to address that a little bit. If you don't-
Yeah,
Can I?
sure. Todd, do you have any follow-up questions for Orin, or anyone else has questions of staff this time? All right, we'll open it up to applicants.
Just to answer that, in my opinion, one thing, and the engineer will speak to that, but we did that not as a thought that we would have any issues with any of the sewer or any water coming out. We don't think that's gonna happen, but we did that specifically to answer your question as what if this happens? What if we start to see collection and movement of water from maybe now we're at 100 systems and we start to see wet areas or something. So we answered that in that way for that just in case. So that's kind of what that was
Having
about.
that result, my understanding is that's not allowed to have effluent flowing into a retention pond and just sitting.
Yeah,
So in the worst case scenario.
the engineer will discuss that with you. Yeah. I mean, bottom line is, the place is a desert and no water's gonna be popping up from that. We've had out there for a few years, there was some farming going on. And in farming, you flood that land, which we did out there very close to it, in the area. And that happened for a few years and we saw no water going anywhere else other than that field. And in those fields, per acre, you're using 6 times as much water as you're gonna get out of one of these houses on 1 acre. So, I mean, we really don't see any issues coming up from it. We're just trying to answer your what if questions. So,
And on the screen, I just was showing a picture there. That is potentially what a retention pond could look like. And here is this is just a sketch drawing to show where it is. It doesn't have to be like a scary looking thing. It can be actually beautiful. And Cindy, you had last commented, are we gonna have any public space? Are there walking areas? For example, this is absolutely perfect. See, even the next one, some of those little pathways
Right.
could be a beautiful opportunity for that. And again, this is worst case scenario, and as each lot gets tested and built, there'll be results.
Mhm.
Looks like maybe, just whatever that scenario is, that's why we are working with engineers to guide us, and also we'll be working with the county. And of course, the state, here's where we are. I mean, this is a process that after we all agree, we hold hands and say, let's make this work. With very experienced people on this side.
Am I misunderstanding something? Is this a stormwater retention pond? Sounds like that's
we're gonna
both.
It's for both, is my understanding.
Is Delta Colorado, so WTS regs, relating
to retention ponds specific to OWTS. And in our OWTS, surface runoff, storm drainage of water for detention or French drainage are strictly prohibited. So I mean, that's something we probably have to get some clarification from environmental health, but I mean, there's a strong indication that our regs don't allow for retention pond, but
Not for OWTS, we found that out. The engineer, like I said, he'll tell you about that.
because that's what we were wondering, is with a failed OWTS,
Mhm.
is that retention pond solution for the OWTS?
So it's,
And if it is, that's where the question.
I mean, my understanding of the staff's conclusions is that that is not a viable solution, but each site will need to have, you know, each site and the subdivision as a whole in the subdivision stage of application will need to prove that each, you know, OWTS is feasible on each one of those sites, each one of those plats.
Right, they're each handled separately, you know, and we discovered that later, but Rexville. Would you like to talk about it now? You want me to?
Sure, yeah, if you can, we've met, the applicants, but if anyone who wasn't here at the hearing last time can please at least introduce themselves, and how you're related to the project, that'd be great.
Okay, I'm Rex Goodrich. I own Goodrich Engineering and I've been hired as a geotechnical engineer to help with the project. So in this OWTS question, I wasn't aware of a regulation against the pond, but I wasn't at the last hearing either. And Peter said to me that you were concerned about excess water getting down and perhaps leaving the property or something. So I just showed on the drawing there that there was plenty of space down there to have these types of ponds. I don't believe any water is going to leave any of these lots laterally. I designed OWTSs for a few years and have since quit doing that. But and I work up in mostly up in Grand Junction, so the Grand Valley, everything north of the Colorado River there is in the Manco Shale, and most of those lots out there, except the newer ones, are on septics. And as far as I know, there's no failures out there. A lot of times, you know, we build houses right on the Manco Shale will be down there 8-10 feet, and there's groundwater on top of the Mancos. So these systems are going right on top of that. They're not, and ultimately that water does go into the groundwater aquifers, which is where it would ultimately get up here as well. So the example at the very end of this last letter, you know, with the little blue pond there at the bottom, probably in this context is an error on my part to even put it in here because I wasn't aware of regulation, but it sounded like you were worried about what's going to happen to all this extra water. I don't believe there's going to be any extra water leaving. I made up in here in the last paragraph, I said, let's say worst case scenario, 25% of this usage, you know, 300-400 gallons per house per day does go down there. At the end of the year, it's still a very small amount of water. It's 10 feet deep, but honestly, none of it's ever going to leave the 1 acre lots because the OWTS system itself is designed such that 1 acre is big enough to take it. And the Manco Shale has been very effective everywhere I've worked with it. And so fracture permeability is known. And I think the water is going to go straight down every one of these lots. Also, let me bring up another thing because we're worried about the Manco Shale. And one of the pictures, I don't know if you can throw this up on the screen. This one. I've got on the last page, you can't see it on here, but I did a geology shot from the Gunnison River from an airplane view looking north, and you can see the Morrison Formation, and then on top of it was the Dakota Formation, and then right on top of the Dakota is the base of the Manco Shale, stratigraphically, right? So on top of that hill, there's no Manco Shale. We've got Morrison, Dakota, and then there's a cap of fluvial gravel. We see that often out here on the tops of these hills. And then as you go down the slope towards Highway 92 to the north, we start seeing patches of Manco Shale in there. And then you look across the highway there, you see the Adobe Hills and all that, of course. So the Manco Shale, I'm trying to point out here, it's a thin veneer on the very top of the hill, if it's there at all. And then as you go down the hill, it maybe thickens up a little bit, but as we're going north, remember the Dakota is dipping, all the strata is dipping to the north, as is the topography. And so I don't think the Mancos area gets more than maybe tens of feet thick, maybe 10, 20 feet. We go out there and pothole and figure that out, but it can't, because then by the time you get down to the highway, which wasn't very far away, you could probably have a veneer of that, and then you also have the alluvium that started to accumulate on top of the Mancos that we saw out in the middle, kind of in the vicinity where they drew the orange pond, the blue pond, sorry. So, there's not much Mancos there to begin with, and right underneath it is the Dakota Formation, which is a thick sandstone I found in the, records about Delta County online. It says the three big aquifers in Delta County have been the Dakota, the Rollins, and the Entrada. The other two are unimportant. The Dakota is important because it's right underneath these proposed 300 homes. So I think the water is going to end up in the Dakota and filter its way down to the north, wherever fracture permeability lets it get back into the aquifer system, back into the Colorado River drainage system. Gunnison River is part of it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the engineer or other parts of the applicant team?
Did you dig any test holes on site?
Boral. Okay. So we found
That was one of our
They're-
questions.
They're
too.
marked up there.
yeah, we went up the main road just a little ways, dug right there, and it's a weathered Manco shale right there with there was a little colluvium on top, right, alluvium. And then we went up the hill further, and the Manco shale was there as well, less weathered. We saw immediately the blocky gray shale you see when it's not so weathered, fracture all, to get, and that's gonna take a lot of water. And then on top, we had the colluvium, and we couldn't get bucket refusal permitted. It didn't let us get 8 feet, but the colluvium is gonna be an excellent recipient for leach fields.
So the colluvian's up on top where we look down towards the Gunnison.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
because we went up on top and there was like a whole,
What I'm calling is that fluvial stuff is those big round rocks.
Right,
that are
right.
hidden by a river way back,
okay, so that's up on top as we're looking down towards the
Yes,
Gunnison.
and so the Manco shale was probably eroded off during that event that deposited the round rocks. You see it around Grand Junction a lot, I'm not familiar here, but they put gravel pits on that stuff and crush it up and sell it to us. And then we did the fourth pit down over in the valley towards the water treatment plant, up a little ways from the blue pond.
Mhm.
And we're out in an area where you can see that the streams are all coming together. And there we had 8 feet of just alluvium, which had come off the Adobe Hills and on top of the Mancos. We never got to the Mancos there. I wouldn't be surprised there's still some Mancos underneath there, but again, keep in mind that the topography from the top of the hill to Highway 92 drops off very quickly and then flattens out. The strata is dipping at about that same angle. Maybe there's no coincidence there because the Dakota is a very hard resistant sandstone, probably is helping control some of that drop. So the Mancos starts here, maybe gets a little thicker down here on this slope and then maybe thins out, maybe doesn't before we get to 92. My point is there's not much Mancos to get through and all of a sudden you're into a porous known aquifer in this county. Delta or Dakota Formation sandstone.
Thank you.
Todd, we had attached all these as a supplement, but if you want, we've got an extra copy just for, these are some of the testings, the picture from Mr. Goodrich's engineering tests.
How far do you have to dig down to get past the Toby clay?
We dug where we could get 8 feet, we went 8 feet. I think some of the test pits are in there. On top of the hill, we didn't bother. We were in cobbles. And I knew we had sandstone underneath because I walked down the hill a little ways and I could see the sandstone off the crop and where I was looking at the Gunnison River there. As we came off the front side, I don't remember how far we got into the Manco shale before we had bucket refusal. Somebody had dug these before we got there, so we didn't direct them to stop. I assume they stopped.
We did it 8 feet.
All of it,
They're-
okay,
We did all of them 8 feet.
all of them made 8 feet.
So you're not gonna dig past the Toby clay to put it in. I know that these guesses.
No, because generally they're put in with just in the top.
Right, so the main shale, my understanding is more of a concern for the foundation of the home. Not so much for the OWTS, it's the adobe clay that has a very, very slow absorption rate and capacity, where we're gonna see that effluent have nowhere to go.
Well, Todd, Rex also addresses that in another report that we attached, and he'll speak to that as well. There are two reports.
Shows me.
And our excavator is also here. He's in charge of all our excavations on site. But you'll see there that what you were just questioning. Rex is also, Mr. Goodrich has also addressed that as far as foundations. And so
I'm not
upon
asking about
each,
foundations. I'm asking about.
You're asking about OWTF.
oh, sorry then. But that also is there for your information.
So I think the concern is with your analysis, the fact that you brought up the potential need of a retention pond at full, being fully developed, that there could be evidence not contained on these sites that have been built. That is obviously a situation that can't be allowed. That's the concern that I have. Everything else about this application, the water, everything else just looks great. That is a concern to me. That at the density proposed, we could have a situation where now these soils are not containing this effluent, and we're needing to propose the potential of a retention pond. And if the retention pond is collecting effluent waste, there is nothing beautiful about it. It's gonna stink, it's gonna be horrible. So I think that is something that needs to be certainly considered, so.
Could you please correct that information,
Um,
especially with the.
the OWTS regulation, all that, they state that the effluent comes out the leach field after it comes out the biomat. It's clean. And, you know, there's still, some contaminants in there possibly, but then it goes, before it even reaches the lot lines, that's why we have setbacks around the edges. It's all clean. And if it goes laterally at all, but, I've never seen it go laterally. And we have densities like this, north of town in Grand Junction, no problems. I can't say what's gonna happen, absolutely, because, you know, we haven't done it yet. Yeah, but, I don't see why it won't work here when it's working other places throughout there. Plus, like you're requiring, one of your options on the requirements, I think it was number 4, you have an on-site, site-specific, flow reports. And each lot's also going to have a site-specific OWTS. So that means someone else is gonna come in there, and design the system for that. So worst case scenario, you've got these mounted systems. We do a lot of those up in Junction. I have one lot where the guy built a house on solid sandstone. And they mounted it all up and designed it, and I go drive by and look at it now, and I've never seen that sandstone wet. It's a $50,000 pump system on sandstone, and the water's going down into the cracks in the sandstone, and all that's recorded when you're doing the design work, you know, the fracture frequency within the bedrock. And so that goes into the engineering, the design of each system. So we get to a place down there where we got this adobe clay, you're calling it, it's impermeable. That'll be factored in. It may be a very large system on that one. Now, another thing that's going to be used here, I haven't seen them up in Colorado yet. Mr. Edwards has talked about these aerator systems, and he's probably told you about them, so you probably know more about them than I do. But evidently, they're going to then take the water out of the end of the tail end of the leach field. It's been treated a little more thoroughly than what comes out of our leach fields. Then it goes up. You can pump it into your yard, water your yards, trees, shrubs, acceptable. I assume it's acceptable here. It's acceptable in Texas. I've not seen it here, but so now you do that, you're going to lose more of that effluent. Is going to go to evaporation and usage by vegetation trees. So that would help the scenario.
So I'd like to pop in on that. In Texas, everyone uses aerobic systems. those are higher level treated. And when the water goes to that aerobic system, it's more than 95% clean. And it's used to come out of a normal sprinkler system onto your yard and grass. And that's what we've done in Texas for 25 years now. It's now coming here. What I'm proposing, just to let you know, this is really getting into this part of it. I called CHPE just last week and spoke to Mr. Kurz, which is head guys up there. And I just called him to pose these questions that we're asking, that you're asking. That we told him where we are and what we're doing. And then we're putting 1 acre lots, and there could be 300 of them in one area when we get done with this. And asked him what he thinks about this, and he, what, after hearing where we are and what we're doing, the questions that he had asked were these. He asked the condition of the lots, not knowing that we, only have a few lots that have ever been out there already. And the answer to those was previous existing homes never had the issue show up. Also, the places around the whole place, been there a long time, they don't have any issue with their septics. One of those, Tony had told me he built out there, and that's why he asked me to dig at a certain place. He put in on one of our customers' houses, our water customer, a mounted system. And that's still there. He's never had any issues with it. And then so what Mr. Kurz asked me, the condition of the lots, which are, like I'm addressing now, there's been no issues with them. And then he asked about features on the lots, like wetlands and outcropping. None. The answer to that is none. There's no wetlands out there or outcropping on our lots. He asked about water courses running through the area, and that's unknown. There's no water out there. It's a desert. And he asked about historically of groundwater in the area. No, nothing coming up like that. And asked if there's any, impaired groundwater there. All those questions are answered with a no. And so, I mean, he's, he was, saying that's what he would look for issues for what we're doing. And all of those were, answered with what you would be looking for. The other thing we discussed was my higher level treatment system that I want to use out there. I want to use them on all the lots.
How much control of that would you have?
Complete control. I own.
You're gonna build all the houses. You're not gonna sell lots and let people build houses on.
No. We will require that they use this system.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, that's, all this is in the current regulations. The company that I wanna become a distributor of, that makes a system that's used in Colorado right now and is in their approval. You can look it up on their website, which the guy I was talking to said that's my website. And the system that I want to use is Norweco. And it's not only an aerated system, which is what we do in Texas, in a lot of places, and that's enough. But here, this is also has a filter on the end of it. So what comes out of it is very clean. And then what we do is pressurize that and pump it to the grass and the trees areas. It goes a foot underground because it could freeze here. And, but it's still, that's a watering system. So what that ends up doing is, reducing the amount of money that our customers will be using as far as watering their grass and trees. This will help them do that just from their effluent. So it reduces the cost of their water, off their water meter and et cetera.
Would you be acceptable for that type of condition from the planning commission? Your application?
Well, I think, I think that, I mean, that's what I want anyway. And the answer to that is yes. And part of this is, I think, making a deal with you guys, with Sam, I guess. Because, you know, the issue there is, why you don't already probably have these systems is that you need to have them inspected once a year. They get inspected and, you know, and that happens in Texas all the time, so my HOA would require that.
Any other questions?
I have a copy on Bean also, if anybody's interested. It's just kind of a couple of highlighted contract provisions that our HOA will require mandatory annual septic system inspections. And just kind of the way we would carry that out with each homeowner. Keeps things nice and understood and clear
Mhm.
and effective.
So my understanding from the last hearing was that, I can't remember if it was a CDPHE or a local environmental health person who said that they hadn't heard of these aerobic systems being used in Colorado because of concerns about the freeze cycle and things like that. Are you saying they haven't been used, that there's a new type of system that is just now starting to be used? Or
But it is approved now
okay,
by
You dug a little
Yeah.
further.
Yeah, so it's in their approvals, all about it. And that system is used in Denver by about 3 different contractors.
Mhm.
And so I talked to those contractors about them and I already have the documents, paperwork to fill out to become a distributor. So
Okay.
they're all approved and called Noveco.
There are systems in Delta and Montrose County that already have one.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've talked about your HOA and your covenants and all that.
Mhm.
More of a question, how do you feel knowing the feeling of Delta County and where you're at with that many home sites? How do you feel that people are gonna be receptive to that?
I already know they're really receptive to it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've been here 3 years now working on this, so we've gotten a lot of input and a lot of talk with builders and et cetera. So basically, our competition is the houses that you see on small lots that have sewer systems. Those lots are maybe 5,000 to 10,000 square foot. 10,000 is big for those. And they sell those for what we will be able to sell ours for. So
Okay.
take a 20-minute drive and you can have 1 acre instead of,
Mhm.
an eighth of an acre.
Okay.
So I mean, it all
It's really
looks
10
good and
minutes.
sounds good. Well, I mean, you do have a place here in Delta that they're doing okay. They're selling their houses in their small lots and small houses. And, just the cost of doing things is we will be able to sell homes in the 300s, which
Mhm.
really means like 390. The smallest one you can
Right.
get out there, maybe 390,000, but that's for this area as good as you can get really for a single family home.
Well, and Shay originally was talking when they were working on that to make them 5-acre lots. And I drive past Highway 92 a lot up to LaRue Creek, and my fear or concern was if you do a 5-acre lot, especially not having it in ag, what that accumulation was going to look like. That's what I'll call it. So I do like the new proposal that it has gone to an acre, res 1.
A little more
myself.
manageable.
I can just tell you. that's-
Manageable is a word you can sure use. I want it to be not a visual nuisance. I really like the idea that area could be very attractive with the right direction.
It's going to be.
Good.
And I can and it took me 2 years to realize you actually have what I want to build already in Austin. It's on Foxtail Ridge.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with that?
No, but you had talked about that the night we came up and,
I invite anybody to go look at them.
yeah,
They're when I first started thinking about, okay, the 1 acre lots,
Mm-hmm.
do I still leave like desert out of part of that lot? 1 acre's pretty big. I mean, to visualize 1 acre, it's almost the same as a football field. Football field is 45,000 square feet, 1 acre is 43,560.
Mhm.
So it's bigger than people really imagine here anyway, because we're so used to 35 acre lots and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But even back then with Shay, if I had been with him, I would have said, don't.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna, for what you're putting in there, paved roads and all those utilities and, with a 5 acre lot, what you'd have to ask for, you guys are gonna go, well, I'll just take a 35 acre lot right up there
Mm-hmm.
for that price. And then those 5 acre lots, like we talked about before, they're gonna end up, not looking good, really.
Mhm.
You have a little space where you can have a 3 yard and a house, but that 5 acres, they're
Right.
gonna be desert and, it's just not manageable.
So you alluded very early on about maybe some open space. Do you think that's something that you may consider putting in, having that many homes for
Absolutely.
people to walk or bike or walk a dog? Okay.
Yeah, and these are gonna be private roads and our homeowners will be on their 4-wheelers and whatever, driving down the roads like, it's their roads. And we're gonna do some access points so they can get onto, the government property that's right next to
Okay.
the BLM. And then as far as that open area that we haven't designed yet,
Yeah.
we'll definitely, I mean, we already have a detention pond there that's pretty big. That's gonna stay, that's part of the water company.
Mm-hmm.
There's another pond that keeps water in it, and that's really coming from the water company when we clean the system and whatever.
Mhm.
And so that they're connected, so that will always be there, open. We'll try to make it look
Mhm.
pretty and make some use out of it.
Mhm.
And then, where we end up putting this other area for a pond that you put the picture up there of, that's something we definitely like to have.
Mhm.
So that area that we haven't designed yet doesn't have utilities, doesn't have roads yet in it. It's got, a couple of roads, but it's not done roads. And so I'm totally open to open space there,
Just more of a
And then all
question.
around us, you can just get right on the BLM land.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go down our private roads down to the other side and get on BLM land and go over to, what's it called? Yeah. And so, I mean, I do it and everybody else is out there, hops on your 4-wheeler and go to Pleasure Park, so
Mhm.
we would like to see that
Thank you.
continue, yeah.
Appreciate that.
If you said something a minute ago, it hadn't occurred to me. I've lived in Grand Junction all my life, and as you go in from Highway 50 side here, there's those outskirts where people have kind of homesteaded or whatever, and it doesn't look so good. And then even I-70 coming in from Palisade, it's a trash heap out there north of town. It's terrible, and they can't do anything about it. My wife and I drive through, we comment about it all the time. We never liked that. And what you're saying is a good point. 5 acre lots, they can do that. On 1 acre, there's gonna be more control here with an HOA and all that. You're in control of that.
Yeah, well, 5 acres is just easier to accumulate. You're just, especially if you don't have, you're not putting in, a field for, something or whatever, you tend to start accumulating and then that's what it looks like. It looks like a house with a lot of accumulation.
Mhm.
So, so it's more of just a question. Thank you for answering that in thorough. Thank you.
Alright, so the task before us is to decide whether we agree with staff, that the applicant has met, reasonable assurances that, utilities will be provided adequately, and that, public will not be subjected to any harm with this plan. I will remind us that this is just the rezone application. The conditions that the staff has set forward would kind of carry on into the subdivision plating part of their plan, but that is not, the details about the HOA and how the whole subdivision really comes together is not really our purview right now. We're deciding whether they can rezone into, 1 acre lots. So does anyone have any further questions or discussion about kind of the adequacy of this information that they have provided us today, to supplement what we heard the other day? Is anyone ready to make a motion?
So if you
Well,
make
I
a
would
motion,
just
I can.
comment that I appreciate the supplemental information
Yeah.
provided. That has helped me
If I make a motion. we actually
understand that we had some concerns, and I think you've answered the questions. And our findings only have to be a reasonable assurance must be provided for the public to serve new development by the time demand occurs.
Right.
So I'm satisfied that reasonable assurance has been made now, and this is gonna take a while, and
Mhm.
there may be some hiccups along the way, but at this point, I'm satisfied
Yeah.
that the reasonable assurance has been provided by the applicant.
So, Madam Chairman, if you're ready for a recommendation, I would be most happy to give it.
All right.
I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners for rezone application PLN 26-022 Clearwater Enterprises rezoning 378.51 acres from agricultural 35 acre A35 to residential 1 acre Res 1, based on the findings that the applicant has provided reasonable assurances of adequate public facilities under LUC Chapter 8, Section 4.B.3, and subject to the 5 conditions of approval detailed in the staff report addendum number 1.
We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
All right. The second came from Commissioner Merrick. Any discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. You'll go on to the Board of County Commissioners for your rezone, and provided that they accept our recommendation, we'll see you here again for a subdivision.
And I would like to add one thing. A lot of us have been on this planning commission for quite some time. And the detail, not only in your presentation, your slide presentation was excellent. Your findings and the things that we addressed the night up there in 99-degree weather. I do appreciate that you were very thorough in getting professionals to back the stuff up and present to us. So thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck with your project.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Seeing a lot of each other.
Thanks. Anything else from staff or, oh, Chuck, you had something you wanted to say. I'll let the applicants have a little time to clear out, and then Chuck, if you had anything you wanted to address in public comment. Either way.
I'm excited to sit.
Warren, thank you.
See you guys. Good night.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Cooper? Be good.
Take a look.
Someone, no, I have a good copy.
Chuck is here tonight. And so that's,
We're gonna find out.
I figured that's what you were gonna say.
All right, Chuck, are you ready?
Oh, I.
I actually have it on. Do you have all that stuff?
Yeah, but everything.
Yeah, in the email, you definitely have everything. You want some keys of this stuff, whatever the hell that's fine.
Okay.
Oh, whatever, that's again, whatever you need. Okay. All right. Well, we leave happy.
Good. Success to you.
Chuck, you know the drill. You want to address the microphone with your name and address?
Gentlemen, I'm backing up a little bit to our last meeting. We're kind of working on the solar project, the BEST project and all that stuff. So I took some pictures just so that you can look at them. And what they're touting is that these batteries are gonna be in this explosion-proof case. That's not really the case. What they're gonna be in is a modified container, probably a one-way that they're gonna remodify when it comes from China over here. And I had some other stuff that I found, but I just didn't have time to work on it. But I got 11 of them, so I did pretty good. I got 2, 4, 6, 8. But you know, you can look at it at your leisure. It's kind of where they're talking about going, but as I spoke to Everett a couple of years ago, this was kind of the system that blew up on the highway down by San Diego. It had batteries and it started and they couldn't put it out and they poured water in it. Oh, you can have it. You can pass them to people that are interested in it. So it'll give us a starting point when we talk about it because people think we're gonna have a vault or a concrete building. The more you compress it, the worse it is. So that's all I really had. It was interesting to see the process before me, but that was good.
All right, has the BOCC meeting on the land use code approvals happened yet? No. No. Yeah, I would encourage you to go that, Chuck, because we've kind of already made our formal recommendations in terms of the battery energy storage regulations, but the BOCC still has a chance to revise those or edit those. So if you have any, recommendations in terms of what you'd like to see changed about what is written, that would be a good place to do it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I have more of this stuff and we have to start someplace, and it's just,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, with that second page, BVB general contractors. Who are they?
oh, they were people that were involved in building these type of facilities.
So they build these battery storage.
No, that particular unit you're looking at is a converted container
Okay,
that
Shipping
comes from China.
but BVB general contractors, they're in the business of building these battery storage facilities, maybe not this one.
Not that one, but yes, they are. The reason I put that in there is I thought it would be nice if we could get the commissioners to allocate some money for you guys because you donate a lot of time. You're in this thing, knee deep. And if you could get some literature and maybe get to go see the neural lab in Golden and some of these things and how it's affected across the state. I think that would help everybody to make a competent decision. Let's put it that way.
Same question with the Foot Law Firm. How do they fit into this?
If all else fails, that's.
I mean, are they involved with these battery storage facilities?
Yeah, and they basically, they're like bottom feeders, if you will. I don't know how else, but that's what they do, is when people have no place else to go.
You mean, do they litigate problems or do they help process them?
They litigate the problems that are called from a lack of experience.
Okay.
I don't know if it helps anybody, but I just thought I'd pass that out and I
Thank you.
didn't want to take everybody's time just for that, so.
So we're here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you.
All right, anything else this evening?
What do we have, Orm, coming up on our schedule? Do you know yet or?
Do we have anything for the next regularly scheduled meeting?
Okay.
I guess that may just get canceled,
And that's which, that would be the 26th, correct?
Yeah. 2 weeks.
Okay,
But we may not have a meeting on the 26th.
there's nothing on the agenda that I saw, okay.
Okay. I know Tom, Kay, and some other folks are still interested in more land use code conversations and updates and whatnot, I think we'll probably wait to see what the BOCC does with these more minor edits, but just kind of as a, you know, we've been talking about doing this on a more regular basis, or maybe picking out some things that we've all noticed need some bigger, maybe more philosophical, more strategic things to look at. And then before Sean left, he mentioned a possible update of the master plan. Have you guys heard anything more about that in terms of what the commissioners want to do, or if that's like gonna be on our to-do list anytime soon?
I'm not sure if this was something the commissioners had asked for, but there are some state mandates that require us to update the master plan with the strategic growth and water supply elements. So we're currently applying for a grant through DOLA to fund those. That's about all I know about it right now.
Okay.
Do you guys know of anything else with the master plan?
No. We're looking for some time to get something. I think we started a general information guy who's done an assessment to match numbers. They're doing it pieces. I think the first one we got, the gentleman came in was going out. His general numbers of where everything was at, because all of our numbers from the master plan were all different population. So just, I think they were doing some general data. But I think that's the plan.
All right. I don't know that in 2018 or, you know, prior to that, it was a long process with a lot of community meetings and stuff to establish that. So just wondering if that's something that we're gonna be tasked to participate in soon, or what?
Well, luckily, Warren is.
Yeah, does that normally get updated about once every 10 years, I think?
It's been a long time.
I mean, it was 2018 was the last one, was when it was adopted, and that, yeah, like I said, I think they probably started that process at least a year or more before that adoption.
Mhm.
And then before that, I don't know when the previous
It's
one
well
was.
adopted because of the fact. That's when we're.
Ah,
I thought the land use code came out of the master plans.
That's some things.
Oh.
You create the language, had to start the master plan to make the land use.
Right.
that makes sense.
Tied together.
Okay.
Perfect.
But we haven't heard of it.
Okay.
All right.
So as we know it now, we won't have a meeting on the 26th.
As of right now, we don't have anything.
Okay.
And we can send out an email.
Just an official.
No, I had sent you an email. That might be it, that I've got training out of state. So that'll be it. So it's gonna work out actually great if we don't have a meeting, then I'm not needing to catch up. Perfect.
All right.
Do we
thank you.
know anything about Tony? I mean, does anybody have heard? Do we know? He's missed the last couple of meetings. Do we know if is he responding to it all, Brittany?
I